my. Okay, so listen, guys. I'm feeling about just as awkward as the Joker here in the beginning of my video here because, listen, there's a few things that happened. This episode had a lot going on. Okay, there's a lot going on to try and get Laurent on this boat, to get him off to safety, to get him to this nest place, whatever. And there's other little pieces of the storyline. I'm not going to hit it over at all because I know you guys watched the episode, but am I the only one who was a little bit confused by the ending with Isabelle wanting to stay with Quinn?
I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's do it.
I'm like, the motives just didn't sound exactly right. Anyways, we're gonna get into all this, but now listen, okay, don't get me wrong, okay. The show is solid. I mean, it's fun. It's a different story. And in the beginning of the episode, I totally got caught off guard because I was trying to figure out what was happening when he was in the catacombs, and then he sees Laurent, and then all the zombies kind of pass by him. And for a second, I was just like, holy crap, guys, the zombies aren't attracted to him. So was the birth, from his mother, was it Lizzie? Is he immune in that sense? Whatever. I mean, I figured we would have seen this by now. But, so I was thinking, oh man, that's kind of a cool direction or whatever like that. And then suddenly after Laurent kind of walks off all cocky and this and that, and we're like, well, a little shit. And then suddenly Daryl awakes his eyes. He's in the water, obviously, from when he fell in. And so I'm thinking, okay, so that was a flashback, right? Well, I was confused for a few moments. Actually, a lot of moments. I had to rewatch it because I wasn't sure, was that a dream sequence or not? So maybe it was just Daryl in his mind just kind of thinking, oh, maybe Laurent, he is a chosen one or this or that. And I don't know where his mind was going, but because I know Daryl, he doesn't believe in that kind of stuff. And we even found out later in the episode when Laurent finally went to the Eiffel Tower and he managed to get himself underneath that corrugate or whatever like that when the zombies were all pouring through. Very randomized, by the way. They were, like my wife was like, they were chilling there all that time. And he looks through a little peephole and suddenly it arouses all the zombies and they're going to walk through. I know, guys. I know it's just a show. I don't know, but as Laurent was underneath the corrugate or whatever, the steel, the zombie, I guess, smells him or gets wind and then sees him and then starts reaching for him. So clearly, the beginning wasn't a real sequence, right? It had to be in Daryl's head or whatever, or maybe from the fall, semi-unconscious or whatever. So once I finally figured that out, I was like, okay, I guess I understand that scene. But the next piece, I was like, did anybody else see the freaking zombie gnawing at Daryl's ankle like crazy? I mean, it could be argued that maybe it was just his shoe and it didn't get to him. But listen, I know Daryl has like 10,000 lives or whatever, and it's his show. We can't really kill him off in his show, at least probably not at this point. It wouldn't make much sense. But why get so close? Why? I don't know. It just, if anything, it gives me that feeling like, oh, is he bit? And they just didn't show it. But clearly they're not going to kill him off. But you see what I mean? It's like, it's these little things like when they try to put a character like Daryl in perils and in trouble, like he's gonna get bit, when you know damn well he's not gonna get bit. They can't kill him off in his own show, not when you're in the middle of it. I think it's already greenlit for a season 2. Thanks for the viewer who called that out. I guess they found some stuff online for it, so thanks for calling that out there. And we're only up 4 episodes in, so clearly that's not gonna happen. I'm starting to get a little annoyed, guys. I feel like the writers, I feel like it's Fear the Walking Dead bleeding in, and don't even get me started on Fear. If any of you follow my channel, you already know how I feel about that show. I mean, it had an interesting promise at the start, and then towards the end, and good God, I don't even know why I stuck with it as long as I did. Anyways, not to get on a rant, well, Fear will be back soon enough, and we'll finish that atrocity off. On a high note, the scene where when Daryl was torturing that dude that they caught to try and find out where Laurent was being taken and whatever else, that was kind of a fun story that Daryl was telling as he was torturing the shit out of that dude, stabbing him in the chest with that blade and whatever. I was just like, damn, seeing a dark side of Daryl. And plus with Isabelle watching that too, just to kind of see what Daryl was truly capable of. But she wasn't exactly against it. She was letting it happen. I mean, sure, she kind of asked for mercy a bit to the guy's like, just tell him what he wants to know. And the guy finally did. So I guess that was kind of a cool scene. I did find it a little interesting. Now listen, with the whole French thing, okay? I don't speak French, okay? A lot of us don't speak French. We didn't take French. I took Spanish in high school. Most of us did, right? And even then, I know very little of that. But, if you're going to translate when they're speaking French on the show, then translate. There was a couple scenes in tonight's episode, or sorry, the most recent episode, episode 4, and there was also a few in the previous episodes, episode 2, and I think one in like 3, where they didn't translate it. Now I get it. It's just a couple lines of dialogue, but it's like, I want to know what they're saying. So if you're going to translate it, then translate it. If not, then have them speak English. they transfer back and forth. I give it some depth and give the characters, depth as well to see them speaking French. It's a beautiful language, whatever, yada yada. But I want to know what they're saying. All right, so I know it's a rant. It's just a pet peeve in this show. It's starting to drive me nuts when they say something and they won't translate. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what you're saying, so I guess we'll just have to go with it. And I did find it funny that the guy that Daryl was torturing, right? They told him how to get in, I guess, an underground catacombs area to get into Quinn's little lair or whatever, his little burlesque scene, whatever, nightclub thing, because obviously he had to get to Laurent. I thought it was really hilarious how that dude just suddenly learned English really, really well when, he, I don't know if he hit a trap or he snapped his leg or something like that. And then Daryl's like, how do we get there? And he starts saying, oh, yeah, you go down, make a right. And I'm just like, oh, so now you speak English just fine? A few minutes ago, you couldn't say shit in English. You're speaking all French or whatever, and you couldn't even tell really what Daryl was even talking about when he was telling his little this story about Jimmy and the torture scene. And then is it Falou, the black gentleman who basically leads the commune there in Paris, whatever, trying to build people together. They keep talking like after they attacked Quinn's little compound, and I don't think any of them got killed. I think it was Sylvie or whatever, the other girl that's been traveling with Isabelle, the young girl, and her wannabe could be next time boyfriend or whatever. Like he gets wounded, but they all managed to get away after throwing a bunch of Molotovs at Quinn's crew. I kind of felt like, oh, they got unscathed from that pretty easily, and then they all meet up at the boat. And it seems like everything's going to plan, and then they're about to get on the boat, and then Isabelle, I think Falou says something like, they're starting to corner off the city, and there'll be no way out. So I'm just trying to understand this. We have Quinn as a technical kind of villain, kinda. He wants his boy, Laurent. And then you have Jeanette, who is supposed to be, I think, the main antagonist, right? Villain. And they had a scene with her earlier in the show, which I'll get to that in just a moment, but they start saying that the city's getting closed off, and then Isabelle says, I can't go with you. I'm going to have to go back to Quinn because I'm going to need somebody with leverage in the city, otherwise no one's getting out.
What?
But I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but that's why you have Daryl. Daryl's going to help you get him out. Get on the boat. I mean, when Daryl said to get on the effing boat, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, get on the effing boat. What are we doing here, really? And it was just confusing, and I'm like, there's no point in you staying, Isabelle. I mean, other than keeping Quinn's character around. I just feel like it's just this fluff character, Quinn, that they kind of put into the story, and I just don't know if they need another antagonist in the show, but apparently there is. And so there's that. Isabelle going back to Quinn, and then Anna, whatever, that's the girl that's the singer inside of Quinn's place who has the hots, I guess, for Quinn, but Quinn doesn't give a crap about her. There was a couple of scenes where, Quinn gave her a gun because she was supposed to guard Laurent. And then when Daryl shows up, she's like, yeah, go ahead and take him. Clearly, because she didn't want Isabelle to return, because Isabelle's kind of screwing up her plans for being with Quinn. I'm just, and again, it's just all these little side stories. I'm just kind of like, I don't mind storyline, guys, and I don't mind additions to the story, but I feel like they're just small little annoyances just kind of in the way of getting to the true meat of the story and what we're doing here. I think they could have spent more time on certain areas and maybe taken away some of the other fluff. I don't know. I could be totally wrong on this, and I guess I'm just getting to my really annoyed state. So let me know. Are you enjoying the story a lot more than I am? I think my wife is honestly mostly checked out. She's just kind of like, she even asked me, she goes, are you really digging the story? And I'm just like, I want to say yes, just because it's zombies and it's Daryl, and usually I'm just a sucker for all that. Let's just get after it. But I just can't help but start feeling like something's just wrong here. I got a bad feeling about this. It's funny because as I talk through these different pieces and I'm jumping around from piece to piece, and I get it, I'm all over the place, but that's how I felt in this episode. I kind of felt like we're kind of all over the place. Still getting to the end of where I guess they needed to be, which was the boat, but just a bunch of other crap, in between. Obviously to fill an episode, these spin-offs, I'm not sure it's really going to full plan here. I have really high hopes and expectations for Rick and Michonne, and Rick is my boy and my character, and those writers better do his ass justice, or I'm telling you, I'm going to rip that show a new a-hole. I guess if we were to talk about one more piece, let's talk about just Jeanette, just real quick, and the scene earlier in the episode when she's in the community, Falou's community, and she's interrogating some of the people. She wants to know where Laurent is, because I guess he's a symbol of hope and giving these people, I guess, something to believe in, and she doesn't want that. Whatever she's doing with the zombies in her test, which I still want to know more about, and I hope they really, really get to that and don't just skim over it for once. Like, let's really get into seeing what are you guys trying to test for, and furthermore, let's maybe make some progress. Let's start changing things up in the show because we've seen enough of the same old, same old. It's probably time for a change. Let's get crazy. Let's get crazy. I thought it was interesting of their choice when she was interrogating, and she kind of had this. I mean, I felt fearful watching her go around, especially when she picked up the baby from the lady because it kept crying. She's sinister, you know, in some really dark, secretive, closed-off ways. And I was just like, is she gonna do something, you know, to this kid, to the mom, or what? I don't know, or to these people because they're not really. They weren't fully answering. But then the one woman who had lost her husband, who Laurent kind of consoled for a moment, she started blabbing, you know, like a bird. I don't know. I was just kind of feeling weird. Like I was like, I want to feel like she's really this kind of sinister woman, but yet she didn't do anything in the end. She kind of held the baby and she kind of kept quiet. So maybe that was just a real subtle way to kind of say, don't screw with me, or I will bring the pain train to you all. This is possible. Or is she just more mild-mannered and she just lets her henchmen do all the work? I think if you're going to be a big villain in TWD, you need to step up to the plate. I need to start seeing something going on. I'm not talking about a baseball bat to heads and so forth, but there's plenty of things she could do, especially in the show and their environment. So, again, I'm expecting more of Jeanette's character, especially as a villain. Or even Codron. I mean, he barely had any time in this episode tonight. He never caught up on it. It was mostly all about Quinn. So that's what I'm talking about. Back to that real piece. How many antagonists do you really need in the puzzle? You know, unless maybe Quinn has maybe a redemption arc story somewhere down the line, you know, maybe to save Isabelle. These are possible things. I guess time will tell. And so with that, I guess I ranted on enough tonight. I know, it was kind of a bitch fest session. I couldn't help it though, y'all. I feel torn on the show a little bit. Some of the episodes, it doesn't feel like a chore to watch, and I feel entertained.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yes, Maximus, I do. I feel entertained, and that is why I'm here. But they're going to need to do a bit more with this story, and it looks like the scenes for the next episode, and they're going to be some interesting things, I guess, while Daryl tries to get Laurent to the nest, and some other perils along the way. Aslan, the guy we just met as the boatman, something tells me he's not going to make it, just from a little scene that I saw. But anyways, I guess we'll see how it all goes down. So thanks y'all for watching. Make sure to leave a comment down below to let me know what you're thinking about this show. Let's get some conversation going. I'd be curious, and maybe argue it out a little bit in YouTube style to see what you love or what you don't love about this show. Make sure to check out my channel for other content like Dead Nightmare, my small zombie series. It's no Walking Dead, but we had a lot of fun shooting it. There's also Forbidden Love. It's kind of a comedy skit. Check that out as well. And other than that, guys, I will catch you at the next review. See ya.